Welcome to the live stream of consciousness. The live stream of consciousness is on a quest to unravel the mysteries of existence. Every episode, we ask the fundamental question, what is consciousness? Is consciousness merely a product of our brains, or does it connect us to something greater? Explore the very fabric of our thoughts. Don't miss a moment. Expand your awareness and tap into the boundless potential that resides within you. Welcome to the live stream of consciousness.
Yes, welcome to the live stream of consciousness. I don't know why every time I hear that, it charges me up, but I feel like, oh, I've got to redo it. We've got to do a new one, but I think it's pretty adequate. We are about to dive into the everythingness that we can. My name is Michael Zinn. You are watching the live stream of consciousness. This is a place, a moment in time that you have plugged into live. It's Thursday, August 8th. August 8th, yeah. It's my sister's birthday. And you're watching this show right now. Or you've stumbled on the replay, but you have plugged into the energy of this stream of consciousness. So if you're watching the replay, it's the archive stream of consciousness. But the live stream of consciousness is a place for me to have conversations with amazing people that you just don't hear in the commonplace, in the supermarket, and at work, sometimes even with your family, conversations that I think are intriguing. I know a lot of times I talk to guests and I can feel the seeds being planted in my brain and starting to germinate and grow and expanding my mind. So that's why I love it. I appreciate you guys being here. I see Ninja Kitty out there. I see Tim. Thank you guys for always being there. I'm super excited tonight because tonight I have a guest on that I do know, and that I met actually at a business networking event. So I met this woman at a business networking event. She was also a photographer, and we were doing video, and she was doing photography at this event. And so I believe she came over and introduced herself and said, "Hey, I'm doing photography," and immediately we hit it off on that level of that's what we did professionally, and that's the event we were at. But we got to know each other a little bit. There was kind of an energetic connection, right? We talk about energy all the time, and we just got to know each other a little bit. And it turns out that she was a spiritual leader, and a really good one. And I was very pleasantly surprised when she invited me to a drum circle. I went to this awesome drum circle, and I watched her lead. I watched her exchange her energetic connection with source, or offer her energetic connection, and take the lead of a pretty large group of people in a pretty cool event. It involved a saging ceremony where everybody got saged. That was pretty awesome. And I'm just excited because we got to grow into a friendship. We're working together on some things, and now she's a guest on the show. So I'm excited to have her here to talk. And without further ado, it is 9:04. Usually at 9:03, I'm like, ooh, I've been babbling. We got to get on with the show. But welcome to the live stream of consciousness, Carolina Luna. How you doing?
Hey, hello.
What's happening?
So excited to be here and so honored.
Awesome.
What a
Awesome.
great introduction. Wow, spiritual leader. And you don't think I run a cult or something. Come on, Michael.
How are you doing? No, not at all. Not my audience. That's the thing about the live stream of consciousness. I meant to actually say that I have it written down, that it's a non-judgmental space. I have the coolest conversations with people who are trans and people who do things that other people think are a little wacky, and it's just, I love it. I think it's so great. I love to celebrate our differences. I think that's a part of what this show is about too, is everybody's got their own unique connection with source, and they express it in their own unique way. And that's so cool to like put all of those pieces of the puzzle together, because that's what it is to me. Everybody's got a piece and it makes a big picture, and we can fit nicely right next to somebody, or we can say, all right, you go over there because we don't fit together. So good.
We
And
all weirdos, we find a way to each other. That's for
that's
sure.
right. And but they're a part of the picture too. So, and realizing that is a part of the solution, right, to the answer to the puzzle. So welcome to the show. This is your first time. So you do are required to answer a few entry questions. Uh, they're great questions because, one, there is no wrong answer, and two, every answer is right. Well, I guess those are both the same thing. So yeah, so those are two good things that are both the same thing. But that question is, and Tim is saying, Hola, Carolina.
Hola.
And Ninja Kitty says welcome as well. Two of my favorite, most loyal viewers. But that question is, are you ready? What is consciousness? What are we even talking about?
All right. So now it's my turn to answer this big question. Wow, consciousness. I guess simply, but I guess consciousness is just awareness of being alive, awareness of information, awareness of your environment, and awareness of existence, awareness that we are connected to something that we don't understand, that's intangible. Yet this awareness produces everything that's tangible in this world, right? Including materializing ideas, visions, anything that we see was materialized through consciousness. So I think that's what it is in simple terms.
Yeah, no, that's great. See, that wasn't so difficult, right? It's scary when you look at it written down, but it's really, it's, it comes out. I think everybody understands it. Everybody has at least some sort of idea of what they think it is. Christine, hello, Christine, how are you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Yeah, that's perfect. That's a perfect answer, and it is amazing to think about. I think what you started saying was awareness of yourself, awareness of your environment, awareness of other beings in that environment, and just how to exist. I think it sounds simple, but it's there's no manual, right? So as human beings, we're kind of left to how to figure out all of those things. But the important thing is knowing that those are the things you've got to figure out,
Yes.
right? And I think that's,
and there's different levels of consciousness, which is the most interesting part, right? In the spiritual world and the self-development world, we always talk about becoming a conscious being, right? And becoming more conscious, becoming more evolved through consciousness. And ultimately, the more conscious or quotes aware that we are about our own selves, our own personality traits, values, personality quirks, and defects per se. We're not defective, but per se, the more we turn into that purpose-driven individual, right? Because the more aware we are about ourselves, most likely more attuned to our purpose we're going to be.
Absolutely. And Angelo is out there. What's up, Angelo? Saying it's how everyone connects with one another and source. Angelo's answers to that question, and I agree, that is definitely a important part of the question, what is consciousness? And that's what I love, these conversations about exactly that, how we all connect to source. That's exactly what I was saying. And I think even that we all expressed our interest in that subject in different ways. So I have another question for you before we move on to who you are and what you do, because I want to basically hold this space for you and give you the chance to tell everyone what you do. I know I had an amazing experience, and I'm going to add that in as you talk about it. But before I do that, I just want to, iterate, and I forgot to say this in the beginning, of what I am trying to do here with the live stream of consciousness is create a community. And Christine, I don't know if I've seen you here before. You seem like you might be new, but if you're new and you subscribe, I do have an actual physical bell here that I will pick up and ring. I do have it right here. This is a part of, I ring this bell for anybody who subscribes. But what you, all of you guys can do, if you don't mind, it's pretty easy, is just like and share. Like, all you got to do is click share and tell it where to share it, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, wherever you want. And yes, no, I do know you, Christine. I didn't know if
Part
you.
of my tribe. She's a member of Goddesshood.
Of course, of course. But I didn't know if you had subscribed. So I was
Uh,
just
yes.
I was just putting it out there that now is the time where I say all of that stuff. Shared. See, thank you, Christine. Yes, I do know you, and yes, shared. Thank you. That's all I was asking. See, because it is, it is so easy. I do a podcast with Jackie the Joke Man. We film his podcast at the studio I work at, and we were doing some promos, and he started going into a bit about what do you got to do to share it? You just got to click. Come on, it's just that, and it's true. It's like, it's so easy, and it helps the cause. We're all here with the intention of kind of learning a little bit more about each other and sharing it. And that's part of my story I want to share with you about Angelo, who's here in the audience too, because I had a great experience this week. But before we get into my story, there's a second part to that what is consciousness question, and that is, if you have a specific memory or moment, or it could have been, since birth. Now I'm hearing stories about pre-birth memories where you kind of knew that there was more to existence than just our physical humanness. um you know do you have a moment that's specific, or?
Oh, well, I do have a childhood memory when I was very, very young in my backyard where I thought I was an alien. I was maybe 4 years old.
Wow. Okay, let's hear that story.
Well, there's not much to it. How much memory can I have it for? But
Okay.
I do remember feeling as if I wasn't from this planet,
Mhm.
as that was an alien experience, and
Mhm.
that came naturally to me when I was so young. I didn't really have anybody in my family that spoke about those things, but I had that innate kind of feeling and
Mhm.
understanding that um, I was foreign. Now I'm foreign,
Okay.
right?
Okay. There was something other than your humanness, which is really what I was asking. Like, there's something beyond humanity. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense at all, but I don't I can't think of a moment specifically, except that when I was going through my awakening, I think the pivotal point was simply um, when I experienced an immense joy,
Mhm.
and it was I was on the beach by myself. I
Mhm.
was I was going through a little bit of a life crisis, I would say,
Okay.
feeling like I'm falling on my knees and asking, what's next for me. And I left my home and I went to the beach and I was just sitting there. And what I saw was the sunset and the moonrise at the same time.
Nice.
And it was such a beautiful sight, and I experienced such a feeling of bliss and presence. And um, it was just unbelievable. Like I can't describe,
Mhm.
but a sense of buoyancy. And
You
I
were connecting to that moment. You were like right in
knew,
the middle of it.
I knew at the moment that my life was going to be changed forever. And it did. And from that point
Wow.
on, that's when, I ended up getting divorced. I asked for divorce 10 days after that.
Mhm.
Um, very shortly after that, I went through a whole down spiral of, going to the dark night of the soul and coming out through self discovery, self awareness.
Mhm. Mhm.
And uh, really learning who I wanted to be, who I wanted to become.
Mhm, mhm,
I think for most people, we put ourselves on the shelf for a while and
mhm,
then we forget who we truly are and become disconnected.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, and I don't think, and I think you're right about that. And I think what you said about you finally became who you are, I think that's the answer to the ultimate question that most people ask. Why are we here? Right? We're here to become our true selves. And I do agree with you that most people, for one reason or another, maybe it's a relationship that they get into that they're not happy, but they feel secure, so they stay in the relationship. Maybe it's a job that they don't like. Whatever it is, for one reason or another, people need to, you know, have certain securities that kind of block them from actually becoming their higher selves. I think in this day and age, and that's why it's so important, I think, in this day and age, because a lot of people don't even realize that they're not doing it. You know what I mean? They're not becoming their higher selves. They're not even close, but they're just like content, and they think that's what they're supposed to be doing because of the way that everybody's raised. So that's why I know, for me, I have a lot of compassion for people who maybe don't realize that, and I try to, just by being me, very similar to who you are, we try to show people the light, right? And how simple it is to be your authentic self. Which is what connects us, I think, and what I love about my guests on this show is that, everybody, I think, for me, I talk to so many interesting people who do so many things, and it's like my main philosophy is I can't deny their experience, and I'm interested in their experience, right? I'm not going to be like, oh, what do you mean you talk to spirit? What do you mean that? Like, I want to hear more. Tell me more about that. What is that all about? um
I,
so
Michael, I wanted to hear about your story. You told me recently you had some kind of aha moment about your own
Well, I
purpose.
had I had a very interesting week, and tonight, we haven't even mentioned it, but tonight is 8/8, August 8th, 2024, 2024 plus 4 equals 8, so it's 888. It's even more significant. And I'm not big on numerology, but through my guests, I've learned that's how it happens. And so part of this experience involved me calling my friend Steven Durante, who has been on the show before. And he told me, oh, yeah, it's the Lion's Gate. And he told me all about what it means. And that just kind of tied together the whole experience of the week. And so Angelo, who's out there watching the show, um, is a gentleman who is he's exactly that. He's a gentleman, right? You don't meet many people who actually live up to that description of what a man should be. He's a gentleman. He's a true gentleman. He, I guess, had heard about my show or run across me through other people. Arnie Layton is somebody who else has been on my show, and he had come to me through him, and he just reached out in chat. He said, hey there, I want to know a little bit more. I'm curious about the spirituality stuff. And I just felt, okay, this guy's for real. I trusted it, and I said, okay, what do you want to know, and talk to me. And we just started talking, and it felt good. I was very happy to dispense any information that I know about anything. He was asking me about psychic mediums and about certain people and what I thought, if they were for real or not. And it was just very easy to talk to him. And he seemed very anxious or very like nervous about the stuff, right? About talking about spirituality and what does it all mean. And
Mhm.
I sensed this odd tension. But as I got to know him, I understood it was because of he's been having some amazing experiences throughout his whole life, and he is realizing that there's more to existence than our humanity. And He's very, very curious, and I think he's about to pop. I think he's very connected. I think he's. I don't know if he's a psychic. I don't know if he's a channeler. I don't know what his modality is, but he is right there. He's asking me so many great questions, and actually, through that experience, I was just responding to him, but I felt like I was dispensing my own wisdom and I felt like I know you know who Bashar is, right?
Yeah.
I felt like Bashar without the trans channel aspect, without going into a character or kind of letting it affect the way I speak. I just was like blah 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 blah, right? He said I'm looking for my aha moment, and I said you don't look for it, you just you become it, you know what I mean? And I was just like speaking in a very kind of these philosophical ways, and I'm like, I realized through that interaction kind of who I am and what my purpose is, right? And I almost see myself as a spiritual directory in
Mm.
that I know so many people who do so many different things, and so in this experience, to tie it all together, he was telling me about his experience with psychic mediums, because I started suggesting my friend Christopher Allen to him, who I really love, who is great, and he was interested. And when I talked to him about somebody, he immediately like researches them. He goes to their website, he sees what they're about, and so he's really like right there. He wants to know so bad, like
Oh,
what
yeah.
what am I here for, right?
Cusp.
So
The cusp.
so I start thinking about my friend Steve Interante, because I mentioned something in one of our conversations about hypnosis, and he said, "Oh, that's a whole other conversation." I said, "Yes, it is, absolutely, but it's still part of the same thing." And so I started thinking about my friend Steve, and I called my friend Steve and I said, "Hey, I've been talking to this guy all week. He's awesome." Oh, we met for lunch, by the way. I met Angelo for lunch and had a great, amazing lunch where he told me about his experiences, which were some great things at 9/11. He was a police officer at 9/11, and he had some experiences there, and just even experiences with his own religious background he had that were very spiritual to him, like, okay, this is a little otherworldly. And anyway, I spoke to Steve, and Steve said, "Oh, when I do hypnosis, it's not just," because Steve does past life regressions.
Mm.
Steve said, I don't really call it that. I call it
Retrieval.
soul retrieval, something like a therapy with the soul, like higher self.
Mm.
Like you're not really like talking to your mom's spirit or somebody's spirit that passed. You're not talking to
Your higher self. Yeah.
you're not channeling Saint Michael or whatever it is. You're talking to your higher self through Steve's thing. And I'm like, that's what he needs, that's what Angelo needs. And it just hit me, like, again, like, that's what I am. I'm this psychic directory. I've talked about, I think, on this show, that I always connect people. Like, I meet two people, I put them together, and then I find out weeks later that they're working on projects together. you know and it just seems to be one of the superpowers that I have, that I don't even think about, that just
That
happens.
is an amazing superpower.
It seems and it's becoming more and more into focus. What I've got to figure out is how to put that into a service. Like, I'm a spiritual directory. You talk to me, and my service is that I hook you up with the right person. you
Yes,
know uh,
wonderful.
but that was my experience.
Now we know. Now we know. We're gonna find a way to bottle up and sell it out.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, this is interestingly enough, folks, this is exactly what Carolina does for a living. And she sent me this form today to fill out, and maybe I don't even have to fill it out now anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I will fill it out. But
Don't skip homework.
what's that?
Don't skip homework.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna skip it. I'm just saying, like,
Process.
it's just amazing how the universe works, and especially after my conversation with Steve about the significance of, let me get back to the Lion's Gate, and kind of asserting to the universe what it is that you want, right, and who you want to be. And so I was playing around with AI, and I put myself on this mountain, and people are coming up the mountain, and I'm just saying, okay, here, go to this person, here, go to that person. And I'm going with it. I definitely think I'm trying to manifest that and tell the portal I'm ready, man. I'm so ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
This name is real. The number is really auspicious. So 3 8s. Usually it's just 8 8, but with the third 8 there, it's really more powerful. There's a lot of buzz on YouTube. Everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's start start there before we get into you is because I know you're connected to it and you understand what it all means. What, for people who maybe don't know what the Lion's Gate is, first of all, is, and then obviously with the extra 8, it's more powerful. Can you tell us your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm not really an astrologist, so I'm not the right person to talk about it. But my understanding is that Sirius aligns with the Giza. A bunch of astrological events happen, so it aligns with the pyramid, one of the pyramids,
Mm-hmm.
and it is really a portal. So let me see if I can explain this a little better. But I had a conversation today with my retreat partner. I'm actually organizing a retreat in October, and we're putting together right now the final touches and details. It's going to be an all-women retreat surrounding feminine empowerment and womanly arts. And so Sitora is one of the girls that I invited to collaborate with me. And Sitora is a sidereal astrologer and so much more, actually.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to be an integral part of Goddesshood, which is my community.
Awesome.
And what she was telling me is that the Lion Gates portal is when Sirius star system is closer to our planet.
Mm-hmm.
And allow us to receive and transmit or like higher frequencies
Mm-hmm.
that can be more impactful in our lives
Mm-hmm.
and help us to just have major transformations. It's time for letting go of the old energies and making space for the new.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we do the ceremony, the full moon ceremonies that I do we let go of things and make room for what we wanted to manifest. This portal is 3 times more potent now with the 3 8s. So to embody this transformation is really, if you wanted to tap into the portal energy, is best to reflect on all the beliefs that you have, your patterns, your relationships, your career choices. Um, what's your perspective in all of that, and then hold a clear vision for what your desires are, by feeling them as you're already manifesting them. So it's really important, especially now. And this energy is going to carry not just today. The portal is really wide open today, but this energy is going to linger for at least a week.
Great.
So we should be reflecting about healthy relationships. How does it feel to have a passionate, authentic connection with somebody, for example?
Mm-hmm.
What would it feel like to have a career that is just you get up in the morning and you're so happy and fulfilled and you're like, you can't wait to go to work,
Yeah.
what does financial freedom mean? How does it feel to be abundant and free? So considering all of those things and grounding ourselves, connecting with a little bit of meditation, and maybe putting your feet on the ground, going outside in nature, and just allowing yourself to be connected to Mother Earth and receive, instead of now you think about things and feel and now connect yourself with the energy of this whole portal that's happening. Pretty much the portal represents infinite abundance. The number 8 represents abundance. And so reflect on the abundance inside yourself, abundance in the world, visualize, embody. And we, as conscious creators, right, we wanted to be aware of what we wanted to create and how, what kind of a life we wanted to experience while we were on this journey. We wanted to be aware and conscious and consciously create the kind of work you wanted to do. You wanna to, you know, be in control of your life instead of being just a passenger in the car, right? You wanted to be in
Totally.
the driver's seat.
Totally. And as you're talking and explaining all of this brilliantly, by the way, th- all I'm hearing, all that's flashing in my head is the word intention. And that's really what it's based on. It's so important for people to understand, and I think my audience usually does subscribe to the idea of thoughts, being so important, and how much, I mean, thoughts are energy, right? And how much the thought contributes to, your existence and your own being. And I think I've been hearing a lot of things. I watch a lot of podcasts, and I try to really digest as much information as I can about all of this stuff. And it's just, what was I thinking about? Thoughts. I just, having negative thoughts about, limiting thoughts, not negative thoughts. I'm not talking about just like, oh, I'm fat and this kind of thing, right? Obviously, those things are very, very common, and people don't realize when they say that stuff that they're basically, that's what they're telling the universe that they believe. And so they stay that way, even though they feel like they're saying it in a way like they're not happy, they're still expressing that, right? And I think that that's a really important thing. And it's funny because I see myself stalling here and trying to figure out my words, because my words are so important. And a lot of time in conversation, I find myself about to say a word, and I realize before I even say it, I see the word, and I'm like, that's not the right thing to say, because you're giving it energy. You're supporting that idea just by saying it, just by thinking about it. and
Mm,
and that's really what I got out of what you were saying, is how important the intention is, and how this portal is an opportunity because of the celestial energy that's happening, that your intentions become more amplified, your energy, your thoughts, your beliefs, even just believing the idea that because it's so close that it's amplified, that's important too. That's a part of it, right?
yeah, yes, absolutely.
Very cool.
It's really interesting how, before I was conscious about the cycles of the moon as much. We see the moon changing, but when I started to actually pay attention to how the moon affected me, that my life changed. I guess
Mm.
that could be a pivotal moment in or evolution, with the moon.
Well, you know what? I want to open up the floor to who you are. I just want to say hi to Brian, who is the Wizard of Odd out there. The frequency you vibrate at determines the frequency of life. Absolutely. Yeah. So let me open up the floor to you. I'm holding space for you. I had an amazing experience, like I said in the introduction, when I came to the drum circle. Not only, you invited me to the drum circle, and actually it was an opportunity for me to do some video and some photography, and I got an amazing
Oh,
drum picture.
my favorite photo ever of our circle that you
Yeah,
took.
let me see. Actually, hold on. Let me see if
Yes,
I
shared.
think I can probably call it up
It's
on your Facebook here
talented,
or something. Let
and
me
I'm
see.
forever grateful. I'm gonna make a poster for my place here.
Yeah,
It's
it was just such a great drum circle and great moment. Oh, here it is. Hold on. I got to share my screen. Sorry about that. I should have been ready for that and had it waiting, but I forgot. I wasn't thinking.
why
Um,
why you looking on Brian's topic? Oh yes,
oh, yeah.
it's just a phenomenal photograph. Isn't that cool? Like we think it's a circle, but that's actually a spiral, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what we were staging everybody. So we had about 75 people, and everybody lined up to be staged one by one.
Hmm.
People came up, and I asked everyone, what's your intention? What do you wanted to let go of? And everybody says something to me while we're staging. And
Yep.
the part of the transmuting, which is what we're experiencing now also with the Lionsgate portal, is that awareness and intention to release it. Because once we know, it's one of those things, and once you know what it is the problem, if you don't do anything about it, then it's on you, right?
Yeah, totally.
So really detaching from things is, I think, one of the highest spiritual practices there is.
Mhm.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. Let me ask you a question because I was talking to Angelo and he had a couple of questions and I it reminded me that I take for granted sometimes people don't know exactly things. So what is a drum circle? What is the significance of a drum circle?
oh, back in the day, I guess, when the tribes gathered, right, around, men and women gather around in a circle format. There's many ways to host circles, but the way that I came about circles, that when I was going through my transformation, I had a download that I had to actually gather women. It happened. Maybe I go. I'll go back and answer the circle thing, but the circle. It's a, it's just a way of sitting together and sharing, and in a communal space where there's no hierarchy. Nobody's more important than another because
Mhm.
we're sitting in circle format. So um, in circle, we create sacred space where we create a vortex of energy and a space for transmutation, transformation. And that's why in circle we set up intention, and the intention is usually to release something intentional that comes with awareness of that is not serving us anymore, so we got to do something about it. So with the power community and being seen, heard, not judged, accepted, not having even we have some, I guess, sacred spaces have some housekeeping rules. And in my case, I kind of created my own kind of circle because I visited when I knew I was called to host and gather women. I didn't know how to do it. I have visited then several circles to find out how they did it and to learn from each facilitator.
Right.
And I took what resonated from each one of them and I created my own. So a
Cool.
drum circle typically is just straight up people gather in a circle format playing drums. My circle, which is hosted during the full moon, it has its own flair and flavor. You experience that with every time is a little bit different,
Yeah.
but the rituals are to tap into it's taking advantage of the energy and the magnetism of the moon, which actually just bring everything to clarity, right? The moon is a symbolism of the transformation and the cyclical nature of ourselves.
Mhm.
Especially women are very connected to the moon cycles, right? The because we have our wombs, which have a little more water, I guess, in there, more wiggle room. We are more connected to the tides and the cycles of nature, and definitely the moon, and that's why they call it moon cycles.
Sure.
And
And I think that's also why it's the divine feminine.
yeah, find the moon is the representation of the divine feminine.
Yeah.
And so, like different circles, like pagan cultures, they will call the directions. They'll have certain blessings. They have certain rituals. I do not incorporate that into my circle, but I do have the sacred space that's created. We do the saging, which is also an herb that helps to cleanse negative energies that are not ours, that we pick up from people, from environment, from negative thinking, from so many things. So has been used for cleansing. Once everybody's cleansed, everybody goes through this meditation process of grounding, five sensory meditation that I usually do. We just celebrate being alive. We celebrate that we have a beautiful beach to go to. that most people, while we're on the beach gathering and doing this, they're in traffic, they're stuck in front of the TV, they're, complaining, or they're cooped inside. Who knows what they're doing? But we're in nature experiencing an open sky, the ocean. We're so lucky, to have all of that easy access here on Long Island. Beautiful ocean.
Yeah.
And also, we gather, it's a public event. But like you said in the beginning of the show, we find a way to each other.
Yeah.
Your vibe attract your tribe. So
Yeah.
all the like-minded people ended up showing up, and we have a community that's been growing and growing.
Yeah.
So over the past 6 years, I have hosted over 45 circles. I have organized them starting in 2016 in my living room, just with a few friends. And that's when I literally had no idea how to do it.
Right.
I made food and said, "Come over, girls, we're gonna do this."
Well, I think you know what, it all goes back to what I said about intention, really, right? And that's something that my friend Steve Durante, who I was talking about, he said, and it was so significant, is that whenever he would start he did guided meditations, whenever he would talk about it, he would be like, it was your intention to be here and do this, and I'm grateful for that, and the whole collective energy that's here right now is grateful for that, because that intention is so important, and that becomes part of a collective intention, which is even more powerful. So I think that is, back to answer the significance of a drum circle thing. Even it's to gather in that circle, but to have the intention of gathering in that circle, and the awareness of, that's why I'm here. You know what I mean? And the whole thing kind of feeds on itself, that energy, I think.
Well, a drum circle, I guess, shares the heartbeat. That's the drumming, right?
Yeah.
The drum is the primal sound. That's what that's the rhythm of our heart is the rhythm of the drum and the rhythm of the earth. So it just helps us to connect back to where we come from.
Yeah. Would you mind if I shared a little bit of the video that I took?
Oh, please. Yes.
Awesome. Here's the staging ceremony. And you could hear it in the background, kind of a little bit, is the actual drumming that was happening. I know I added that music.
I've never been singing.
So cool. I love it. That's the best.
Yeah. So this was taken with a 360 camera. Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
That smile. Wow. Our drummer,
Chris. Yeah, such an amazing, and you can see everybody is energized and excited, and it's such a great community moment. So I don't want to play the whole thing here, because that's 7 minutes, but I wanted to give people a taste of it. It's such a really such a great experience. I mean, I recommend it to everyone. Angelo was asking me about it. He may show up at the next one.
Oh, wonderful!
Yeah. So really good. And I mean, and one of the questions he asked me to ask you was, well, let me see if I can scroll to it here. I think it was, do you believe that, what is the purpose of a drum circle? Do you feel drum circles are to generate energy? And I think that we kind of answered that already. I think that's,
definitely.
Yeah.
It's the energy that we created in our circle, not Goddesshood circle. I vouch for it because it's powerful. We can feel it. It's tangible.
Yeah. For sure, for sure. So let's talk about that. That's a good segue. Goddesshood. That's where you are currently. I'm imagining that's what you're currently doing. That's your main spiritual offering, not offering, I don't want to say that, but your main spiritual connection, the way you're expressing your connection right now is goddesshood.com, correct?
Yes,
Let me,
absolutely.
let me put that in a banner here while you tell us what that's all about.
So Goddesshood, I founded Goddesshood in 2016, and it was part of coming out of that dark night of the soul when I started coming. Um, actually, there's a lot to my story, but for another day. I had
Ooh.
a download for when I had the download for Goddesshood. One of the things that I wanted to manifest is a lot of spiritual teachers, and one of my spiritual teachers at the time, I was doing so much healing. I mean, you name it, hypnosis, yoga, all kinds of, you know, I had some health issues at the time due to heavy metal poisoning. So that affected my ability, like my cognition. And through holistic healing and spirituality, I was able to heal myself from early Alzheimer's onset, which is actually super major.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Heavy, high levels of mercury, cadmium, arsenic, and mercury.
Wow.
Aluminum, mercury, cadmium, arsenic.
And do
Yes,
you know how that happened? Do you?
I do know how it happened. Yes, it was
Oh,
a dental treatment in radiation from X-rays.
wow.
Yeah, so in the process of removing a filling
Hmm.
that had mercury, I got contaminated, but was also through a lot of radiation. I maybe I shouldn't talk about institutions, but I went to an institution who was a dental school, and they had a very outdated X-ray machine. And the student who was responsible for taking my panoramic X-ray couldn't get it right. So I
Okay.
was radiated at least 10 times with an old X-ray machine. And if you know anything about X-rays, they're very poisonous.
Yeah.
Except like today, they have better, more updated technology, which is
Sure.
really does anything. But X-rays cause free radicals in your body, which causes your body to go into havoc. So it
Wow.
messed up all my immune system, my levels of zinc were low, and then with the mercury that was in my bloodstream, I guess the zinc is responsible for removing the heavy metals naturally from your body. So my my story was, I went from being my in the top shape of my life in 2013 to going downhill very fast. And that was around when I had that moment on the beach. I was telling you in the beginning that I was a
Yeah.
complete bliss and I wanted to change my life.
Hmm. Hmm.
From that point, I got sick. I went downhill spiral. I got very sick, very depressed. And it was when I started recovering, which was not until a year after, which a friend of mine mentioned, you must have heavy metals.
Hmm.
That I looked into it and I sought professional help with a holistic neurologist. And through nutrition, through a lot of different healing modalities, I started to recover and I'm healed. It's incredible how um, today this awareness has helped me so much to live a more conscious and healthy lifestyle.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'll never go back. But in that process, when I was coming out of this depression and all these problems that I had, one of my mentors, I decided I was online taking like listening to women's circles. This organization called Three Sisters really changed my life. threesisters.org. The story is very interesting. And this woman in Australia, she was driving her car and she got into a car accident. She hit a tree,
Oh,
and the tree spoke to her.
wow.
He spoke to her, and there it goes. The Three Sisters was founded, and
Wow.
um, it's about healing the planet, replanting, reforestation in many places in the world. I actually was part of the organ, donated for many, many years. And they hosted these incredible online circles, and that's how I was exposed to circles, women's circles. Then
Okay.
I looked for women's circles locally. I found Reverend Laura Tria. She's really well known here. She's one of the pioneers hosting women's circles.
Okay.
She does host in a more pagan style. And I'll give her information. I can share the resources, but she's an incredible, you know, minister. She knows all the religions, and then she has a program where she teaches people to become ministers.
Gotcha.
She teaches all the religions. She's a life coach and dear friend of mine today. But I found her circle, and it was through that circle that I met all the women, and that's how it goes, right? In my research, I went to I went to another organization, Wild Women. They also have circles and a huge community.
Hmm.
So I sat in a circle and I see that they do oracle cards and they do some energy forecast,
Hmm.
tune with the full moon and the new moon. So I picked up a few things from Laura's circle. I picked up a few things from the Three Sisters and the Wild Women circle. And then with my own knowledge, because I grew up in Brazil, I'm not a pagan. I have no idea about I'm not going to all of a sudden become like, pretend that I know any of that. So
Sure. Sure. Sure.
I said, I'm going to host my own. So I started
Yeah.
with a few friends in my living room. Then I started to open a space publicly, posting on Facebook and Meetup. And before I knew, like we have over, 1,000 people have come to circle. Of the regulars,
Right. Right. Right.
regulars, but we have a good amount of people in our list and people
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
volunteer to be on our list and on
Yeah.
the list. And it's really incredible how it evolved. One day I decided to take it on the beach. It was always on the full moon, and I never missed the full moon circle.
Mm.
And I because I was learning and I wanted to learn these alternative things that we commonly don't know, right? I had people teaching nonviolent communication, breath work, when now breath work is everywhere, but then breath work. I had people like all the things that I particularly was interested in learning to improve my own awareness of healthy eating. I was doing a master naturalist course at the time. The course became a master naturalist here for Long Island. And one of the mentors that I had, I invited her to come to Circle to teach about household chemicals, how we have to be aware of certain things and how we can make our own, like, more safe and sustainable
Yeah.
options. Vagina steaming, all kinds of things.
This is, you could say anything on my show. That's all right. We don't judge. We don't judge. Although it's a good segue, because I just want to acknowledge Loriana was out there saying go Catalina. Angelo is saying hello to Diane, and Diane is out there. Hello, Diane. And Diane runs her own groups and events. And again, these communities are great, and they cross over, and everybody knows each other, and I love that. But Angelo has a question, and he says, why do you think more women are seeking than men, or do you think that? I don't know for sure that you think that, but I know Angelo. I was going to say Angelo. Uh, I know the reason he came to me was because most of the groups he sees are women only, or mostly women dominated, and he was looking for a guy to talk to, and reached out to me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
That, Angela, and I think the reason why is because women a lot of the women become very disconnected from their true nature, because we're in a world where we have to be like men to be successful in many ways. And after a while, we go against our grain, against our nature, and we start feeling very unfulfilled in life. And women tend to be more vulnerable and more willing to do the work than men. Men are taught to be hard and to deal with it and not cry. So, unfortunately, that's how it is. Women talk more than men about things, while men tend to hold back.
Mhm.
But in the positive light, there's a lot more men circles around. There's a lot of men. I hate to say men empowerment, women empowerment, but it's just easier to,
No, yeah,
the concept, the archetype of the what comes with it.
right.
There's a lot of men support groups, and if you need one, I will be happy to direct you to some of my friends. They're amazing community builders and space holders.
Yeah, great.
You can find resources online as well.
Yeah. It's interesting that you're saying this. I'm just going to respond to it. The whole idea of women empowerment and men empowerment. I think that just resonates with me because I feel like just in general in society, whether it's the mainstream society or even the spiritual society, the idea of men and women is separated and objectified in relationships, in the idea of relationships. Men are this, men are that, women are this, women are that. I think we're all human. I think there are men that are like that, and there are women that are like that, whatever that is. And I think that, certainly there are roles, right, of the feminine and the masculine, and that's made obvious by biology and the fact that women are the ones who bear the children, and that whole process is what kind of separates us. But I do think that also, for me, what I like, the live stream of consciousness, is what connects us, right? So when I see the whole idea of men and women being objectified in relationships, I feel like, no, we're all human. We all can do that. We can all do the good stuff and we can all do the bad stuff. Why would you want to, especially to your partner? It's like you should treat your partner as, this is just my philosophy, as not only an equal, but somebody who you want to help raise up, right? There's no traditional like gender roles in my relationship of, I mean, there is, because my partner happens to be very matriarchal, in her nature. She likes to take care, she's very nurturing, and that is a feminine
Yeah.
trait. So those I'm not denying those traits and saying that they're not good. They're absolutely good. But I think, again, I like to celebrate what makes us,
Yeah.
uh,
And
you know
in the top of consciousness is really the process of remember who we are beneath all the layers, right, of conditioning, because we're
Mhm,
all conditioned.
mhm,
There's so many societal expectations, and
right,
there is the fear, of being authentic, being judged.
right,
So it's a journey of, you really peeling back the layers
mhm,
to reveal what's
right,
underneath, who
right.
you really wanted to be. Who are you?
Right, right, absolutely. And we all have our masculine and feminine
Yes,
connection, right? Aspects to us, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we understanding the dynamic of the masculine and the feminine within us, allow us to also shift our roles, because as women, when again, our nature is very soft and caring and nurturing, but when we show up for business, we have to uh, even produce a little testosterone and be more assertive. We have to go get it, think of the times where we were in tribe. the men had the spear, right, and go hunting. Get to the point. That's the masculine way. Achieve, go feed everybody, go produce. Men are
Right.
producers, and
Right.
we stayed back and took care of one another, took care of the children. So it was a communal thing. It wasn't one person taking care of one child.
Mhm.
Everybody took care of all the children,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the women took care of each other. And that's when we had the red tents. And
Yeah.
women are gatherers. Remember, this is first one thing about the masculine and the feminine energy.
Okay.
And get to the point. Women are gatherers. So when your wife and your partner, whatever, is asking you a lot of questions, what we're trying to do, guys, we're trying to gather information so we can serve you better, because that's our nature.
Yeah, absolutely. Loriana says great explanation about masculine and feminine. And this is a good question. I'm going to rephrase it. Angelo's asking, where are you on your journey? Are you still asking the questions? But really, I mean, where are you on your journey? I'd love to hear that answer to that. But as far as like, are you still asking the questions? I would rephrase that as, what are the questions that you're asking now at this point in your journey? Because
We don't stop asking. We stop asking when we die.
right,
And
right,
now we're like, oh, here are all the answers. That's on the
right,
other side. Yeah, right now where I am, it's every day there's nothing more than I'm more interested in becoming the best version of myself. So I know who I am. I just wanted to be the best that I can be, for myself, for the people around me, for the people in my community. I wanted to improve my business all the time, my business model. So I'm always looking to reinvent myself. I had many reinventions in my life, and I think I'm always excited about what's next, to be, what's possible. What I ask every day is, what else is possible? How can I get any better than this? And that's how I live my life.
right. Awesome.
Curiosity.
Awesome. We're at 10 o'clock. I don't have a hard stop. I don't want to take too much of your time. I do want to talk about some more things with you because I've talked about myself as a visual artist on the show and what I do, but that was another thing that connected us, is you are a photographer.
Yeah.
And I think what's similar about you and I in photography, because there's so many different types of photography, and I find no two photographers are alike, and I'm not saying that we're alike, but what is similar is that we enjoy photographing people.
Yeah.
I think that's a similarity. And I've been told that I capture a person in a way that they've never seen themselves, and I know that's true about you as well. And kind of that's almost part of your intention, right? Is to show someone their own beauty and to show them a different way of seeing themselves. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I've been a photographer for over 20 years, and I picked up the camera when I was only 16. So I never had the intention. I love nature, but I never got into nature photography, which is a funny thing. I love, I guess because I'm a bit of, believe it or not, I'm an introvert. So it's a way for me to, and also ADD. So I become more present behind the lens. I completely feel so present with the camera in front of my eyes, and just selecting whatever it is that I wanted to photograph and capturing that moment for me is the most important thing, to be able to capture the best version of the person I have in front of me. And that's what people want from my work. They wanted to see what they look like with loving eyes, with non-judgmental eyes, because with the camera, I'm a space holder as well. So I think I transferred that space holding skills that I have in my circle facilitation when I have my photo shoots, because I really want people to achieve, being the best version of themselves too. Sometimes they can see for themselves. So it's really all about that for me. Yeah.
Just
If you can
trying to
go.
bring it up here in a way that it
Oh yeah,
fits on the screen.
my website. I think it represents more.
Oh, okay. I have the Goddesshood. What's your
Yeah,
photography website?
it's carolinalunafotography.com.
What a clever name, Carolina.
So funny. My real name is not Luna. You know that, right?
Well, I that was something I was thinking about mentioning. I just love talking, so I just get lost in the
Uh,
talking. Carolina photography. No, that's not
Carolina
it.
Luna Photography. Yes, that one.
Carolina Luna photography, and then website. There we go.
Cool.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Yes, much better representation.
Yes. So
Beautiful, nice website, nice design.
thank you so much. So I have a background in advertising, so I bring that skill into personal branding photography. So all
Mhm.
the photography that I do is very strategic to help to profile the client first, and then see how we're going to position them, or if they have a positioning or vision for their business. I use the photography to help them to show up more authentic online. And last year, I launched the Goddesshood. My group is called Goddesshood. So I incorporated the Goddesshood photography project in my portfolio, which is a way for me to now bring that spirituality and the space holding even more so for women specifically.
Beautiful.
So Goddesshood was born as a divine feminine awakening movement. That was my download and is still in my outdated website, the Goddesshood one. So outdated. I created a website in 2016.
But it's not. I think it's still good. I think it still looks good. I think I told you that when I looked at it. I thought that it looked good.
But that's hasn't been touched.
Yeah,
And
and again, I mean, looking at these photos, you can imagine.
yeah,
I've always, as a photographer, and I did have a studio for a little bit and photographed women. The experience is so freeing, right, and empowering. Like you said, just the experience of a photo shoot is an empowerment thing if it's done right,
yeah,
because it could also be a frightening thing, and I think that was, something that as a male photographer, I was blessed with a gift of making somebody feel comfortable with who they were, not being afraid of the lens, not a lot of pressure, helping, and then showing them pictures that they were like, oh my goodness, that's me. You know what I mean? And that's like the best result you can have, right, as a photographer.
yeah. So the
So
purpose of is to truly help women get in touch again with their divine feminine,
yeah, the beautiful photo here.
their authentic
Oh,
selves.
yes, yeah.
The process is it's not just about photographs. It's really a therapy. Talking about where they're stuck in life. A lot of women are in transition, or some are retiring or nearly retirements, and
Right.
they never had a photo shoot before,
Yeah.
and it's on their bucket list.
Yeah.
I have
Oh,
women who went through divorce, or they're starting, like they're stepping, like they're rocking in the world. They just wanted to celebrate and align that with their brand.
yeah.
So the purpose is to take the analogy of the sunrise. And the sunrise, I discover, is the most beautiful lighting. uh, just at the crack of the dawn, when the sun comes, so you have this, it's such a beautiful sensation to experience the sunrise with another woman and have them express themselves.
Mhm.
So I help them to adorn them as their own unique goddess, whatever that looks like, we'll find out. And
Right.
rise with the sun, shine with the moon. That's my motto.
I love it. I love it. Carolina, beautiful. It's really beautiful. You are such a pleasure to talk to. I knew that already because we talk outside of this, and it's every time it's just, there's an energetic connection, like I said, of like, this is good. Whatever's happening, it's good, right? And so we go with it. I just popped up. I just put it in the chat, in case anybody's interested in a Goddesshood photo shoot. The Carolina Luna Photography, the better, more updated website than the one that's going across the bottom of the screen there. But I put it in the chat so people can click right on it. or see what it is. But again, I'm so happy. I'll have to have you back. We'll have to talk about other stuff. I'm trying to reformat the show a little bit where we talk about a specific subject. So if you have a specific subject that you want to talk about, suggest it to me, and I can make that an episode, and we can
Oh, I
specifically
have some
address.
ideas for you.
I'm sure you do.
So I have some people wanted to introduce you. You know,
Awesome. Awesome.
yes,
No, this again, I've said it before. This is for me part of what I feel like my mission is. Not only having these conversations, but I feel like eventually the right person will come across my path. And you know what? I said that, each person is the right person, right? Each conversation I have helps me grow a little bit. But I feel like Angelo out there looking for his aha moment and trying to figure out who he is. I feel like this is going to help me because the right person will have the right words to say in the right modality in the right way.
right,
Yeah,
exactly. It's
yeah,
just like hosting a circle. You're doing this online,
yep,
and it's like you build, they will come, right? Eventually,
yep.
um, whoever shows up is whoever needs to hear it.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And Ninja Kitty's out there saying thanks, Carolina. And
Thank
and Angelo saying you can tell her. Okay, so Angelo, interesting enough. And Ninja Kitty said thanks, Carolina. But as she said that, and I clicked it, Angelo said you can tell her. So Angelo was texting me in the Facebook comments. Now let me ask you a question. I know that this is how it usually goes. Are you open to any sort of messages or any sort of line
Yeah,
of questioning? Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that you were cool with it. So let me open this up. Angelo said that two things came to him when he saw you. He said he feels like you struggle with a death of a family member still. Is that something you can validate in any way? Not specifically. Okay, no worries. I know how it goes. If you remember later, tell us. But that was something he felt. Also, he felt like there was a dark entity around you, and this is interesting because you did kind of validate this. That causes her confusion or forgetting things. You were talking about that dementia thing,
Oh, okay.
and that was kind of interesting.
Wow,
So
very.
that was just something that Angelo brought up, and that he said that he sensed. Maybe there's a dark entity that he sensed that you might know about already, or
Yeah, oh, ex-boyfriend.
an ex-boyfriend. That's funny. They can certainly show up as dark entities. I can certainly understand that. Awesome. You've been awesome. Definitely want to have you back. We'll talk after this. I'm going to put you in the green room, but before I do that, I don't know why we say green room. The virtual backstage. Before I do that, do you have any words of wisdom or
Oh,
any
yes.
any parting gifts?
I'm just so impressed by you as well as an interviewer, as
Oh,
a
thank you.
space holder for us who you are interviewing, and
Appreciate that.
for doing such powerful work, surrounding consciousness. It is so needed. A lot of people need help out there, and a lot of people like us who are seekers, and will never stop learning and wanting to know more.
Hmm.
Um, this is a great resource. So
Thank
if
you.
you guys are listening, keep showing up.
What awesome and what awesome words of advice. And again, that was part of the experience that I had with Angelo, was realizing that yes, just show up as yourself, do what you're doing. And this is not only good for you and me to have a conversation, but like people like Angelo who are listening to say, oh, there are people who I can ask questions. There are people who have experiences that I don't usually hear other people talking about. So
And then
awesome.
speaking about the dark entities, now that what came to me right now is that when we're doing powerful work and we have a mission that is bigger than ourselves, we're not here for ourselves. We're here for a larger, like, consciousness is also about the collective consciousness, right? We're bonding surrounding values. We're bonding surrounding uh, um, community, right?
Mhm.
Over the values.
Mhm.
We have our virtues, right, which are divine qualities, and so there's when there's something big happening, even in a collective, right? There's always a dark energy entity coming to sabotage it because they're trying to avoid the ascension of the planet. They're trying to sabotage us, but that's us healers and us there bringing the message front and forward, to wake up the heck out of people that are dormant,
Yeah.
people like you, Michael. We need more of you, and we need to make sure
Thank
that
you.
you guys share these messages that Michael put over here because we need this in the world right now. Otherwise, we're gonna see the apocalypse.
Yeah. Remember what I said about watching what you say. Don't say it even out loud. Even I don't believe that we will. You know what? Maybe it will feel like that to some people because I do believe, I do believe that very, very soon it is not going to be the same. Our day-to-day existence is going to be very, very different. I don't know what it looks like, but it's going to be so different that it will be unrecognizable to this. Um, and no, now that I'm saying that, hold on, I don't think that's 100% true. I think these kind of things where there's community and sharing of ideas and those things will exist. Those are the things that, like you said, that's what's going to actually keep us together and get us through it all. You know.
Start a whole new conversation now and keep
Yeah.
going. But well, how about we leave it for another episode?
Yeah, well, maybe that's what we'll talk about. That'll be our subject. That'll be our subject, the apocalypse.
The
No,
apocalypse, and maybe the conversation should be around how movies like that we've seen in the past, even Star Wars and all um, those somebody out there did connect with a different source of collective consciousness.
sure.
I had some knowledge that was only given to a few people, and
Right.
maybe those are hints of what's to come. We'd
Yeah.
see now virtual reality, right? AI. We saw in the movies many years ago, and here it is.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's just a hint of what's to come. So watch out.
Hang on tight. Hang on tight.
Hang on tight. Hang on.
Awesome. All right. So I'm gonna put you in the back. Don't go away. We'll definitely have you back if you want to come back for sure. This was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you so
And,
much for
and
having me.
I'll see you
Always
soon.
fun to see you. We'll keep working.
Ah, oh my goodness. I need to take my deep breaths in and out. Hold on a second, guys. You could do this with me. You know how good it feels. Man, just even one is so good. That was the live stream of consciousness. Carolina Luna, an amazing guest. I'm opening up my calendar. Next week, I have Eric Herniak back. He was here a few weeks ago and was ready to do a 360-mile bicycle run in support of his mom. And we heard his story, and he did the run, and he said, I need to talk to you. I had some amazing experiences, and we need to talk about it. So I'm having him back. The week after that, John Marine is Deborah Markowitz's husband, and we had Deborah on a couple of weeks ago. He's also a filmmaker with an amazing spiritual connection and stories to tell. It always seems to have that metaphysical aspect to it, even though he's a filmmaker. The following week, the 29th, I'm taking off for a week. I'm going to see Incubus at Madison Square Garden. I'm super excited. Another band that I don't know if you guys know about, but amazing lyrics, very spiritual. The week after that, September 5th, I'm having Lethal Linda on. She is a rock journalist who we connected and has some amazing stories to tell. And I'm just very excited about everything. Danielle Bragna is coming up in September. Just really good stuff. I'm super excited. It was like, it seemed like I didn't know where to go with this, and all of a sudden now I'm booked for the next month and a half. So I hope you guys come back. Thank you guys. Ninja Kitty, thank you for always being here and telling me that you had an amazing time and that it's an amazing show. That makes me come back the next week and do it again. I'm like, I got to do it again. It was amazing. Thank you guys for being here. I will see you next week. Peace.